Hello, hello. It is the 14th of February, 2023, and it's 15:43. Not that you care, or maybe you do. I'm just a stickler for detail. It's been a while since I recorded anything, and partly it's because of, I guess, where I'm at on my healing journey. And because a lot of times if I'm feeling quite low or a bit I'm not very chatty, and it's interesting because I woke up this morning feeling very chatty, and when I want to process stuff, I either talk to the wall or I make little recordings that sometimes I do listen to them back and see what I'm saying. I might listen to it a week later or a month later just to see what I'm saying in regards to, I guess, finding detail, what I'm healing, what I'm processing. It's sometimes very helpful. And when I get like that in a chatty mood, it flows really well. And I think, oh my gosh, that sounds fantastic. And I had a teacher in high school call verbal diarrhea. So when I'm like clued in, plugged in, it flows really well. And I can pretty much express myself in a succinct way and use the right language without too many ums and ahs and Anyway, I sat and vented at the laptop. Not vent, but I just kind of explained or expressed how I was feeling to the laptop, and I thought, oh, I might post that. It was very long, but I thought I might post it. But because I wasn't recording video, it wouldn't copy. But that's okay. As I say, I use these as a tool for my own healing. But there's several things I want to talk about. So I'm in two minds whether to do several short videos, which I probably will do, only because I know a lot of times people don't want to listen to an hour, because the recording I made earlier today was an hour long. I couldn't believe I'd just sat and chatted for an hour. But yeah, because I'm in two minds. So sometimes I like a really long recording. So let's say I'm making dinner or cleaning the bathroom and I put something on to listen to. Other times I just want something quick, because perhaps I'm just getting ready for bed and I just think, okay, is there a 5-minute spiritual thing or a history thing? Or because I follow lots of different types of channel on YouTube, from anything from makeup, fashion, history, a whole bag of things. Anyway, so I think I might just start out doing little videos, and this way I can have a break in between and get another cup of tea or whatever. So I have a little list of things that I want to talk about. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is a specific type of healing journey. So I've been through quite a lot of, as we all do. We all go through different experiences in life. But I have been on a healing journey for several years now. I suffered from burnout. I don't really want to label it, because I have a belief that when you start labeling things, you keep yourself as a victim, and I'm not a victim. I basically ran out of energy, best way to say it. So I had to then look at those things in my life that I could fix in order to give myself energy again. So I'm feeling better than I was, but I'm not 100%, but that's okay, because I take things in my stride. I know how much activity I can do in a week before I burn myself out. And I'm really careful about these things, diet, and there's more I could do, there's more I need to do, but I'm only one person trying to heal myself. And actually, when I see how far I've come in the last few years, I think that I'm doing pretty well, considering it probably took quite a number of years for me to kind of slowly go down and get poorly, and it's going to take the same to go up. Anyway, so the one I want to talk about right now was my current challenge, which is regards to do with my hearing. So about, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, I had a situation where one day I woke up and I couldn't hear out of this ear. When I say couldn't hear, so I could hear, but everything was muffled. So I couldn't hear clearly. I couldn't hear people speak. If I were to do that, I wouldn't have been able to hear what people are saying. I would know they were talking, but I couldn't hear them. And I couldn't hear the internal voice as well. And it scared me, because I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going deaf. But within, I don't know what I did. Actually, I didn't diarize it at all. I don't know what I did. I might have put some wax, eardrops for the wax or something in. Anyway, within about 10 days, 2 weeks, it was gone. And I thought, okay, well then obviously it was just some wax buildup, put some drops in, it's gone. And ever since then, maybe once or twice a year, this same phenomenon will happen, always the same year. And pretty much it'll clear up on its own. I might use some drops, over-the-counter drops that help soften wax, because I just assume it's a wax buildup. And that usually goes within about 2 weeks. I think the longest it lasted was maybe a month. But it doesn't stress me anymore, because I think, okay, this is just temporary. I got a bit of wax, put some drops in, give it some time, maybe a little bit of massage, it goes away. So in September 2022, it happened. It blocked up again. And I thought, okay, that's fine. Did some drops, kind of left it. As I said, I don't stress about it, because I know it will clear up. It just needs time. And it didn't go away. And I thought, okay, so maybe I need different types of drops, because they do different over-the-counter drops. So I use tried different kind of approaches. Excuse me. I haven't yawned all day. Now I get on here and I yawn. But anyway, that's a sign of release anyway. So I tried the olive oil. I've tried so many things. And so one of the reasons for me sharing this is to give you my experiences. So if you suffer with similar, you can look into these various things. Anyway, so but I read a lot of stuff about it. And apparently because we're not symmetrical, we think we are. When we look at ourselves in the mirror, we think we're symmetrical, but actually we're not. We're slightly different. I mean, if you look at yourself, you might see one eye. I know I've got one eye big, taller than the other, one slightly bigger. I used to have more of a squint until I started going to chiropractor. I used to see it in pictures of myself in the 20s. I looked like my eye was nearly shut. I think it was this one. It looked like it was nearly shut. And it wasn't until I started going to chiropractor that my eyes actually look pretty much the same. But looking at old pictures, it was definite. So that was obviously something wrong with my skeleton. So I do realize we're not symmetrical. And what I did read about is if perhaps the whole from your ear to your eardrum might be slightly more constricted on one side. Maybe it's, this one's a little wider. That's why I never get it in this ear. So that's possible why this one would always get blocked up with wax. So I read a lot of things about what the causes were. And there's also it could be a spiritual cause. So there are believers out there who feel that when we have, and I get it, I do get it. And in fact, I agree with it. Things will manifest, and it starts off in your spiritual self, in the emotional and mental self, and then it manifests in the physical. And I've seen it actually play out very quickly for me. There have been times where in the last year where I have something very emotional, I'm going through something emotional, and I will see it manifest in the physical later that day. So I do agree with this line of thinking. So I'll say at this point that everything in this film is about my experiences. And this is my wisdom, my experiences. You might have a different experience or a different wisdom, and that's okay, because we're each going to have something different in our life journey. So anyway, I read a lot about it. And so they say that sometimes when you can't hear, it's because maybe your soul doesn't want you to hear something. Maybe there's some sort of chaos going out in the world that you need to ignore. You need to be focused on something else. So there can be a spiritual type of reason for an ear block. But anyway, so I read stuff. I tried different drops. I did the olive oil. I did all sorts of stuff, and I couldn't shift it. And so then I thought, well, I'll try ear candling. I've never done it before. So we were getting into, now we were in November, and I thought I'll try ear candling, because that was coming up to 2 months, because it was mid-September that this happened. So I tried ear candling, and after the first session, I thought, oh, that's a bit better. So it improved a little bit. I had 2 sessions of ear candling, and it improved a little bit. And I carried on with it. I went to a different practitioner only because of funds. As at the moment I'm not working, so I'm very sensitive about my funds. And so, well, actually, a different practitioner. I went to a friend who's done it before, basically. So I have a friend who's done it before, and she was able to help me out, and in an exchange of energy. So I did pay her a little bit. Then she did it for me, and I wouldn't say it got worse, but it wasn't getting any better. So it's like the first two ear canning sessions, it was like moving forward a little bit, and then it just kind of stayed static. And I thought, okay, let's rethink this. And then anyway, November turned into December, turned into January, still the same, still the same. And not only with the block, I mean, it's frustrating because I couldn't hear anything and I couldn't hear people. And if I was somewhere where maybe there was music playing and people were talking, I couldn't hear them. And certainly, a lot of shops still have these stupid glass or plastic screens in front of them. I couldn't hear anybody. I couldn't hear them anyway. I mean, let's be fair. I couldn't hear them anyway on a good day, but it was even worse. Um, and so it was causing me a little bit of a discomfort just from a socialization perspective, because if I was around people, it was very hard to hear them. And so as well as that, I would get the white noise as well. The ringing. I get the ringing and the white noise, and I just thought, I'm tired of this, because that was that constant, kind of like when you're on a plane. When you're on an airplane, you have that constant noise, and I just was getting fed up with it. So anyway, so it turned into January, and then when I got to kind of mid-January, end of January, I thought, I'm frustrated with this. This is too many months, and I'm tired of it. I was patient for a while, and I'm not patient anymore. So back to the drawing board. Thought I'd do some more reading and stuff. And what popped up into my radar was reading articles about swimmer's ear. And I thought, well, swimmer's ear, the reading it is just like it's an infection. Well, surely if I had an infection, I would be in some sort of pain or discomfort, and I didn't have any. I did sometimes feel a bit fullness, especially in December. I had a bit of a sinus issue. My sinuses were draining, so all in here felt quite swollen and full, and it was putting pressure on here. So other than feeling a little bit full at times when my sinuses were a bit active, I was in no discomfort. I was in no pain. It did feel like if I stuck my finger, just when you stick your finger just at the base of your ear, it feels like that this ear is slightly more restricted than this one. And I thought, okay, well, maybe there is a swelling in my ear, and that's what's causing me not to hear. Maybe the ear canal is slightly swollen. I thought, okay, so let's try some other remedy. I mean, I'm going to just keep, because what my thoughts were just going to keep going through the list and trying things and trying things. Now, could I have gone to the doctor? Absolutely, I could have gone to the doctor. I prefer to deal with things in a natural way. So, at some point I would have probably went to find a functional practitioner or a naturopath. I hadn't tried acupuncture at this point, but I probably would have explored that as well, because that's been very good for healing many things for me. The chiropractic adjustment, which I thought would solve it, didn't solve it. She did say, you need to exercise more. And I went, yeah, I know. Because obviously when we exercise, it gets the lymphatic going. Because she said, when you're exercising, you're breathing. When you're breathing, you're helping the whole respiratory keep functioning. So yes, I get it. And if I'm not moving enough, then I can't expect my lymphatic to look after me. So yes, part of it is things that I could have done in regards to movement. So anyway, yes, I could have gone to the doctor, but unless it's urgent care, I'm not really interested in the doctors, because my health is my responsibility, and doctors really don't know about natural health. Again, these are my opinions. You probably have other opinions, and that's fine. But my experience of allopathic medicine is it didn't help me in certain times in my life when I really needed help. When I burned myself out and I had nothing left, I went to my doctor looking for support, looking for help, looking for somebody that wanted to help kind of pick me back up. She wasn't interested. So everything I've done, I realize I have to do myself. My doctor's just not interested. Anyway, back to the story. So I thought, okay, I'll treat it this way. So I had a look online. What are some natural antibiotics and for ear issues? And so I've come across different things. So basil oil was one, garlic oil was another, hydrogen peroxide 3%. It was another, which I had been using. I did hydrogen peroxide for a full 10 days straight, 3 times a day. It helped a tiny bit. So I will say there was a tiny bit of improvement. What else did I see? Bicarbonate soda, which I did try a little bit. the sodium bicarbonate, actually. Um, and in amongst this list was onion juice. And so I thought, I'm just going to pick one and try it. And it was the onion juice I picked and tried. So basically, all I did was get a vegetable grater, grated some onion, raw onion, and then took the pieces, put it in, well, you can put it in a strainer or a muslin bag, um, and just squeeze out the juice, and then put that in a dropper, and then apply in the ear. And I did that for, well, let's see. I started it last Thursday, and I did it, I think, twice on Thursday. I did it Friday morning, and then I did it Friday afternoon. I had a healing appointment, and I know that she's been working a lot. You know, when I go along, she says, "What's going on?" And I say, you know, maybe I got my ears give me an issue, my knees give me an issue, whatever. I tell her what physical issues are going on. So I know she was putting a lot of energy work into my ear as well as other stuff because I'm a bit of an emotional person right now, going through my dark night of the soul. And if you don't know what that is, I suggest you look it up. So that's been a real challenge for me in recent years, is dark night of the soul stuff, healing my ancestral garbage, healing my childhood garbage, healing everything so that I can become the best version of myself, basically, which I will talk about in another video. So, so she was doing, I know, some healing work on my ear. And then when I got home from that, I did the drops again. And so I put it in, I laid there for, a few minutes, let it do its thing. And I could hear it kind of fizzing in my ear. Very interesting. I wouldn't expect onion to do that. As soon as I tipped my ear that way, it crackled a bit. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can hear. It was amazing. So I've been doing the onion juice for basically 2 days. I mean, as I said, I was getting energy healing, which is very, very effective for me. But 2 days. So I stayed on the course. I did 5 days worth. And so what I'm feeling now, and I'm no expert or doctor, I am an expert on me. So I am a medical expert on myself. I will say that. What I'm feeling about it is probably it was a combination of a little bit of wax getting lodged in there. It could be that maybe I have just a slightly more narrow ear canal here than I do on this side. But I think that probably there was a slight infection, because if anytime we get water in our ears, and one of the ways I was trying to clear it was with warm water. I was flushing warm water thinking, well, if it's wax, it's going to loosen, it's going to come out. But anytime we get warm water in our ears, especially if there's maybe some inflammation, it can trap bacteria, and the bacteria gives you some sort of, it can give you an infection. And because she asked me things when I was getting the healing, she said, does it feel swollen? And I ran my fingers down the back of my neck, and I thought, actually, yeah, this side it feels slightly more full than this does. It doesn't now, because I did this I think Saturday, and I thought, wow, they're exactly the same. So when I had my appointment Friday, yes, I thought, yeah, slightly more full on this side. So maybe it had some inflammation. The thing is, I assumed that an infection would be painful. I was in no pain whatsoever, other than some fullness now and again, especially like right here. More so if my sinuses were giving me grief. I assumed there would be pain. Was no pain whatsoever, no discharge, no pain, no nothing. So it's very interesting. But what I'm gathering is probably a bit of wax. Maybe I've got some restricted ear canal, and then the combination of maybe having some bacteria in there from using water, trying to flush it out, probably just created a little bit of inflammation. But it wasn't life-threatening. If it had gotten worse, of course I would have gone to the doctor. Anything that's an urgent care, I would have gone to the doctor. But very interesting. It's fine. So I'm now of the feeling that maybe, like I said, combination of things. And so going forward, I think that's what I would do, is treat it with the onion juice. And it was very fascinating, because we know it's all connected in here. So your ears, your sinus is all connected. And when I'd use the onion juice, and then I could smell onions, and I just wanted cheese and onion crisps, which I don't eat anymore, but that's all I was craving all weekend. I wanted cheese and onion crisps. So anyway, that's the story of my ear, and I wanted to share it mainly because I'm quite proud that it's gone. But no, the big reason I wanted to share it is just to share it because if you're struggling with something and you want to heal it naturally just to hear what someone else has done. Because when people hear that I've kind of that I'm on this healing journey and I've pretty much, well, I am doing it myself. I'm not getting any help other than going to maybe get an acupuncture treatment, an energy healing treatment, chiropractor. But as far as me healing myself from exhaustion, I'm doing it myself. And so I want to share it because if people are dealing with similar issues and they want to do it themselves naturally, they don't want to go on pills, they don't want to go to the doctor and get on to the allopathic medicines, then this is a way that, I would say use yourself as a guinea pig. Always do things safely. If you're taking a natural product, you want to try a herbal remedy or whatever, I would say always start with the smallest amount. So, for example, I have something that says maybe 3 drops in a glass of water. I would start out with 1 drop and see how I get on with it. And then if I feel like nothing's happening, I'll try 2 drops. So I'm always very cautious when I try a new herbal remedy. But the other thing I've learned so much stuff, and I'm happy for people to tap into my wisdom. Their journey will be different, but I would say just the wisdom of it, of saying, okay, use yourself as guinea pig. If you're feeling these symptoms, maybe read these things, look at these things. Um, one of the things I found is if your body gets too used to doing certain things by routine, the healing will kind of stop. Not kind of stop, it stops. Because I was doing some certain juicing in that about 2-ish years ago. I did juicing straight for a whole year, and that moved things along so much for me every day, same juice every day. And after a few months, nothing was really moving. And I said to my acupuncturist, because I'm getting lots of acupuncture, I said to him, nothing's changing. And he said, because your body's used to it. It knows every morning it's going to get this juice. Every morning it's going to get this juice. So then I knew that I needed to liven things up. So what I did then is I would skip the odd day where there would be no juices. Then I would have a day where I would do a different type of juice because I was doing celery juice, which is very good in cleansing. So I was I was either having a day with no juice, I was either having a small celery juice, or I would double the celery. I would do two whole, I mean, an entire celery. I do 2 whole celeries instead of 1. So every day I was having 1 whole celery, the entire thing, not a stick, the whole celery. So some days I was having 2. Some days I was having a cucumber, and some days I was having 2 cucumbers. So I would just switch it up. There would be no plan. I would get up in the morning and think, right, today we're going to have 2 celeries. And the next day might be 2 celeries. And then the next day might be a cucumber. And I found just switching it up, my kind of healing went. So if you're ever finding that what you're doing is you're in this routine and you found that helped at the beginning, I say switch it up a bit. Because then when your body doesn't know what it's getting, it's kind of like, oh, we've got to pay attention. And then it gets whatever healing, whatever herb or juice or whatever it is you're doing. Anyway, I'm going to come to a close because I need to drink. My tea is getting cold. I need to have my tea, and then I'll come back and I was going to talk about some other stuff. Because as I said at the beginning, I've got verbal diarrhea today. It's really interesting, and I'll chat about it in the next thing. I seem to kind of like wake up on the weekend. It was very weird, but I'll explain that in a minute. Until then, have a wonderful day wherever you are. And if you've lasted this long, you deserve a medal, because anybody can sit and listen to me for half an hour deserves a medal. Thank you for listening. Much love to you wherever you are in the world, and namaste.